This is what I propose. All work on HS2 immediately stops, and for a fraction of the money saved, every taxpayer or former taxpayer in the UK be given £1 million. £1 million on one condition, that during the next 5 years they spend half of it on British made things. That might be to buy goods or services, furniture, cars, start a business that employs UK citizens and uses British goods or services, but it has to be something that helps the individual and the economy. And then let's see how the economy is doing in 5 years' time. Next, the dissolution of Parliament and a clean sweep out of 90% of existing politicians, because there is now no political debate, only mudslinging, blame mongering and power seeking. A Prime Minister incapable of listening to anyone other than his chief advisor, Carrie Johnson. A government that has learnt nothing from the absolute disaster of the past 2 years. Not a single thing. They are like Homer Simpson saying, of course I can learn from my mistakes. There isn't one I can't repeat over and over again. And there is no credible opposition. Keir Starmer, who thinks men have wombs, and if Angela Rayner, Diane Abbott and Dawn Butler were to form a girl group, it would have to be called Dumb, Dumber and Most Dumb. I'll leave to you to decide which is which. And in future, to be electable, A, no more career politicians. You must have done something useful with the early years of your life. You must have made a contribution. B, you must be politically articulate. C, you must understand that you are a servant of the people and not the tail trying to wag the dog. And every time you speak in public, you must take a lie detector test. That means 95% of the current crop are automatically in trouble. Next, the NHS must be systematically dismantled and rebuilt. No more throwing money into what is a black hole. Nursing staff are mostly brilliant, but the infrastructure is a complete mess. Strip it down section by section and rebuild with a modern system of record keeping and communication. And the new central motto over every hospital and doctor's surgery is, we are here to protect and treat people. Because we as taxpayers are the owners of the NHS and it exists to protect us, not the other way round. Get rid of most of middle management and trusts that spend money gratuitously and executives whose main contribution is to line their pockets with huge salaries. And you make social services realise they are there as support and not to lay down the law to medical staff or patients. Next, global warming. Scaremongering and off-the-shelf doomsday rhetoric to be replaced by proper public debate in which all views can be articulated. And if anyone is still capable of understanding the art of reasoned, evidence-based discussion, they can participate. Career global warmists are sidelined until further notice. Give them a taste of their own cancel culture. Next, a reaffirmation of the fact that there are X and Y chromosomes and two sexes, not 57 or 93. He and she are perfectly legitimate pronouns. Look at your birth certificates, male, female. Anyone who feels they are something else should be tolerated, but not indulged and not given special privileges. Men competing in female sports must first undergo voluntary castration and take a large shot of Valium before competing. And if they don't like that, then man up and compete in the right category. Next, a vigorous approach to protecting our borders and making illegal migration so unattractive that no one would want it. If you want to come into the country, use the legal route and the existing channels. We are an overcrowded, small and increasingly miserable and divided country, and illegal migration makes it all worse. If economic migrants, nearly all male and aged between 20 and 40, want a better life, then good for them, but try to do it legally. This needs action and no more talk. Next, stop apologising for the past, and if you haven't done anything wrong, don't whine and moan and apologise. Practically every country in the world has at some time or other been involved in empire building or destroying. And slavery is as old as the human race among all colours, creeds and peoples. The word slave comes from Slav, who happen to be white. Next, strip out all schools and universities that indoctrinate rather than teach. Identity politics, critical race theory, decolonising the curriculum is anathema to education. Get rid of all those courses, reintroduce a solid basic education for all, grounded in reading, writing and arithmetic, and encourage methods of critical thinking and genuine exploration that get children used to listening to all sides of the questions and collating evidence rather than opinion. Encourage wide reading of classic literature, and at college and university level, get rid of the propaganda nonsense and replace with apprenticeships in things like science, building skills, such as carpentry, plumbing, building, and make those apprenticeships free for all interested students so they're not saddled with debt for the rest of their working lives. Academics and teachers who take money from the state for peddling propaganda to be sacked. Next, reintroduce a culture of investigative news and reporting that collects evidence, encourages wide-ranging views and challenges orthodoxies. And public health warnings should be issued. Don't read, listen to or watch anything that doesn't do that. Dissent from mainstream views to be tolerated and welcomed rather than cancelled. Reintroduce Speaker's Corner as a place where anything can be said. Celebrate the freedom. Next, anyone who harms or abuses animals for personal pleasure to have exactly the same thing done to them. Trophy hunters of endangered species to be trophy hunted and their heads stuck on the walls of public buildings. Respect as something to be earned, not given. And next, allow comedy to be funny. Anything can be a subject for laughter, whether it's sex, politics, God, Islam, gender, anything. And if people don't like it, don't listen. Those who have completely lost their sense of humour or never had one, to be encouraged to go and live on a funny farm in a padded cell until they can smile or laugh without being offended. Next, stop metropolitan elites controlling the culture. Defund the BBC, empty their coffers and use the money to distribute funds to every city, town and village in the country according to population density so that they can make their own documentaries, history and science programmes, dramas, local interest publications and programmes, films, music. Then see what kind of culture we have in 10 years' time. Because that is diversity, not some nonsense based on box-ticking ethnicity or politically correct this or that. Next, and finally, information about COVID has to be fact and evidence-based and subjected to a variety of informed scientific views, and no more lockdowns.